Brandon Novak at East last night. That was a good one.
You watched it?
On the tablet, yeah.
He tripping, dude.
Yeah.
He's my friend.
Yeah.
What's up, fellas? Uh-oh. Yeah, buddy. Sheriff messing up now. That's good shit right here. You catching? What's up, man?
There you go, man.
You getting paint on the wall?
Yeah, man. Make new abstract art shirt.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying.
Trying to get a little bit on the wall.
It's the meeting before the meeting. Look at there, man. That's right. We're going to get started here in a minute. What's up, big dog? Glad to see you finally. Got the upper class. We're live, Marshall.
Yeah, okay.
It's all you, baby.
Hello, hello. Give me a little bit of volume. Give me a little bit of volume. How everybody doing? My name is Marshall, and I'm an addict. I'm a person in long-term recovery. And excuse my language, but I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? I love it. You know what I'm saying? Man, the day they gave me 5 minutes, they gave me 5 minutes to chit-chat, 5 minutes to talk, you know? And what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about, man, being honest. You know what I'm saying? Honesty. You know? Honesty. You know, that's the first thing you hear. Now, I don't care where you go when you leave here, what program you go to. You know what I'm saying? You can go to church, you can go to NA, you can go to AA. You know, this thing is about being honest. You know what I'm saying? This thing is about being accountable for your own actions. What you used to hear a long time ago is people say, man, that damn program don't work. Man, they done changed that thing now. Accountability. They done changed that thing now. You can't say the program don't work because McShin works. You know, NA works. What you can say is, I'm not working. Yeah, I'm not working. You know what I'm saying? That's it, man. I'm broken. You know? And you know, the honest, take this question with you. Why did I start the process? Why did I start the process of recovery? You know what I mean? Because, man, I'm telling you, I see so many people that have left this situation right here back out on the street, you know, 6 months, a year, you know, they on their way back again. But they clapping, they giving themselves a pat on the back because I stayed out there for a year. You know, I ain't trying to rub it in nobody's face, but I ain't been to jail in, man, 35 years. You know, and I hated it. I hated it. You know, I'm telling you why you're in here. Listen to your body. Listen to your mind. Listen to your body. It talks to you. You got to listen to it so you can address it. Do I like jail? No. A big fat no. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it. So I got to be honest with myself, man. Continue to do the stuff that I need to do to keep from coming to jail. Because guess what? I ain't trying to step on nobody's toes, but when you don't listen to your body, you started coming up with all of these different reasons, you know, for certain things, reasons for certain ailments, you know, reasons, man, for certain inclinations to do certain things, because you ain't listening to your body. The other day we had a discussion about anxiety. And you know, I mean, you find out some of this stuff is normal. You know, man, if you change to go from the jail to the street, to make the transition from the jail to the street, you're gonna have some anxiety. That don't mean you gotta use. You're gonna have some anxiety. To go from not having a job to getting a job, you're gonna have some anxiety. You know? Why did I start this process? Why did I start it? Man, I started this process to build a life for myself. build a life for myself, and also, man, build a life for my family. Me and Greg was just talking, and I was just telling him, you know, man, I was in the penitentiary, man, when my daughter was born. You know, when I get out, you know, my daughter was 6 years old. 6 years old. I ain't know how to do nothing. How do I treat her? I overcompensated. I'm giving her all of my money and all of that shit. I'm doing everything but being a genuine father. And I don't know, this for all of us that may have kids. How do I treat my kids once I get out here? You know, that's a situation, man, that calls for some help. You know, that's the honesty part of it. I need to get help, man. I need to be honest with my side, with myself. Certain things I don't know, you know? And then we go out there and, man, we be generic with it. Oh, this is what everybody's doing. No, don't put that shit on everybody. Be accountable for yourself. You know what I'm saying? You know, be accountable for yourself. I started this process to build a life for myself and continue. That's why I say 35 years. Life ain't over yet. You know what I'm saying? Continue with that building of a life for myself. Because you know what? Now I got grandkids. I got a grandchild that's 4 years old. And I want to give her a foundation where she can build a life for herself. And I'm telling you, I already know this shit don't work, man. This shit don't work when you got that thing on you. The shit does not work, you know? And man, I mean, I done got call after call this week and last week. A couple of people that have been in jail, you know, out there doing something that shouldn't have been doing. One dude, he don't have a driver's license. He driving trucks for somebody. They done pulled him. He got caught driving the truck, no license, and he got a pistol in the truck. You know what I'm saying? He got a pistol in the truck, you know? And then he, you know, so now he want to talk. Man, I'm always here. But don't bring the bullshit to me. You know what I'm saying? Let's try to filter through the bullshit and let's get honest. You know what I'm saying? Let's filter through the bullshit and let's get honest. You know, because I can remember the time, man, I love getting high. Just ain't like coming to jail as a result of it. Sad times, man. Sad times. I started thinking like, man, what the hell is going on, man? You know, I know Joe Blow do the same shit that I do. Joe Blow never see the jail. I do it, and every time I do it, I see the jail. You know, because that's what we good at. We good at focusing on other people. You know, I just said that the buzzword now is about accountability. I remember the first time I went to treatment, and they called me in there, two of the counselors, they called me in there, and they started, you know, asking me a whole lot of questions, we talking and all that shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Man, I'm throwing my wife under the bus. You know what I'm saying? She the reason. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the counselor told me the second day, he said, okay, you talked about your wife yesterday. Let's talk about you today. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about you today. You know? I couldn't do that. I didn't know how to do that. I mean, I was stumped. I didn't know how to do that. You know, I had to learn as I got in here to talk about me. And I mean, that's the honest part of it. You know what I'm saying? Today, I don't have a problem, man, talking about me, you know? And I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I come down here on a regular basis because it was told to me, man, build a life for yourself and then try to help your family. Then try to help your community. Then try to help others. You know, this 12-step work. This is what we're doing. Continue to take the message. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to come to jail. You ain't got to go back to jail. It can be, you know, my vision now, it can be some of y'all 30 years from now doing something similar to that. You know what I'm saying? 30 years from now, you know? Man, I'm helping somebody, you know? And man, that thing, I love it, you know? One of the guys that helped me, he's in this room right here. Come on up, John. John S. I was down in Richmond City Jail, sitting in the seat just like y'all were. John and Kenneth were hosting a meeting. And I said, then, I said, man, I'm gonna grab that guy's coattail, you know? And man, I got his coattail. We ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, I love it.
John Anderson. Love you, man. All right.
You know, I'm going to try to remember the exact words I said 35 years ago.
Yeah.
So if you get this right, this can be your story. But if for some reason you're sitting there thinking, uh-oh, this don't go for me, uh-oh, I bet it does go for you. You know, the key to recovery is real simple. Find something more exciting to do than getting high. Now, I can't think of anything more exciting to do than getting high when I was sitting as a new person. Now, I know most of you guys have been around for a minute. You're fully detoxed. You're living the dream here at the Henrico Hilton. Speaking of the Henrico Hilton, we appreciate the sheriff letting us come in here and have these conversations, and we thank the staff for cooperating and making it easy on us. And I say it, and I got to say it again, that there probably ain't 2% of the facilities in America that let folks like us come in and have this type of contact and these kind of meetings. So you are special if you're here. And, you know, I mentioned once before, how does a guy go from full-blown active addiction and almost like overnight get recovery, and then you fast forward almost 42 years later, still clean and sober, having these conversations. And I can only go back to somewhere in there, some power greater than me, for whatever reason, chose me for this lifestyle, because I didn't choose it. And but here's the good news: if I got this chosen lifestyle, somebody chose me, then if you're hearing my voice, then that kind of makes you a chosen one too. You know, so chosen means we have choices. You know, what are you going to choose to do? Now, I don't know how exciting me and Marshall and Greg look to y'all. I don't know. You know, I'm going to eat Greek dinner tonight when I leave here. I don't know if that excites anybody. I'm going to do a cookout Monday. I don't know. I kind of like that stuff. It's, you know, it's not quite like doing 5 hits of acid, drinking a gallon of liquor, and smoking a bag of weed. A little different level of excitement, but it's one that's conducive to my proper place here on earth. But I think purpose is a big word too. What's your real purpose? This is not your purpose. This is just a stop on the way to finding your purpose. You know, just find a good purpose that works for you, and you're going to be okay. Simple as that. You know, if a 12-step program is your purpose, that's wonderful. If it's church, that's awesome. If there's some secular purpose out there that has meaning and is helpful, God bless you. So, you know, I'm glad that we've enlisted Greg to participate and help me and Marshall when we can't be here. You know, the whole process of service work is making sure you're teaching people to come behind you and help out and expand our operations. So, but Greg, you know Greg, come on up, Greg. And when Greg get done, he'll bring the speaker up. But I just want to say a few words about the speaker. I watched her since she's been in McShin, and I couldn't be more proud of her. We're just more honored to have her do so well and keep coming back. So, well, while we got the sheriff walking through, let's give a hand for thanking her for letting us come up in here. There you go. It's not every jail the inmates applaud the sheriff when she's walking by. So, yeah, that's a hit right there. Greg, all you, buddy.
I'm Greg. I'm an alcoholic and an addict still. John was also instrumental in helping me on many occasions. 2016, he helped me get in treatment. Couldn't put one foot in front of another again for the 4th time. Helped me get down to Florida. And let me tell you a quick story about John. John came to my home, sat with my wife and I, came up with a plan for me to go down to Florida, down in Tampa, and made sure I got to the airport, got on the airplane, you know, and people like that, who's going to come and sit with you, make sure you get on the airplane and get yourself out of harm's way. And I'm thankful for that. And I tell John that all the time. Yeah. But Marshall was talking on something earlier. There's a difference in being around the program and being in the program. I spent so many years of my life around the program. And for 19 years, I didn't drink. But I was miserable. I was discontent. I wasn't happy. The storm was still churning on the inside of me to want to continue to drink. 19 years I had to, and I finally made a decision down. I was down in the Bahamas with my wife at the my girlfriend at the time. And I was in that gambling, all the lights. And you know how we talk about people, places, and things. In one of those places I shouldn't be in, doing something I shouldn't be doing. And I made a decision to order a drink that day. And Sheila came on to me. She said, "What are you doing drinking?" She said, "You don't drink." I said, "I am today." And that particular day sent me on an 11 and a half year binge. I had to come back home, go to my sponsor, which was probably one of the most difficult things I did. This guy was like a father to me. And he had helped me get a home. You know, he was the best man in my wedding. And he was like a second father to me. And I had to go to this man and tell him that I picked up a drink instead of calling him, which was what I should have done. And he said, "Well, let's go pick up a white chip and get you back on track and get you back in the program." And I said, "I don't want to do that." And I knew telling that man that was going to kill my relationship with him. It hurt him so bad, and it hurt me to have to tell him that I didn't want it. My life had gotten so much better, had somebody that loved me and cared about me. It doesn't matter how many people love and care about me, but if I don't love myself, it doesn't make any difference. And I rejected any help or anything that people wanted to show me. But I'm so thankful that I got to that point that I was so hopeless. And the big book talks about it in Alcoholics Anonymous. It talks about incomprehensible demoralization. Every time I drank, that's what happened to me. I'd end up in the gutter, sitting crying, feeling sorry for myself. And that happened on a continuous basis, dealing with that pain and that trauma and the misery that I would not deal with. You know, I mean, we have a tendency to mask all the trauma and the hurt and the pain that we go through. We mask it with food, we match it with sex, we match it with people, we match it with drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, just to cover up that pain because I don't want to feel and I don't want to deal. But finally, this last go around, something they told me about, they never told me I had to do this, but I finally got to the point where I had to surrender to the fact that I cannot drink safely. Every time I drink, I put myself in harm's way. And I finally had to get with this. I went to this meeting when I got out of St. Mary's Hospital after psychiatric ward. And they told me to go to a meeting that night because if you go to that meeting, you have a good chance to stay sober. And you know what I did? I didn't go to that meeting that night. I went the next night. And what I finally, after 6 months of sitting there, the same stuff that I'd always done in the past, I was thinking about drinking that night. And a friend of mine from the program in that meeting texted me. She said, "I'm really worried about you. You need to get a sponsor." And to me, that was God working through her to reach out to me that evening. And I was scared to death to ask anybody to help me because I was afraid to say no. So I finally walked up to this guy that I had seen in the program, and I said, "Hey," I said, "would you teach me how to work this program and teach me how to live sober? Because I don't know how to do that, and I don't know how to live." And he said, yes, he would. Bring your book. We're going to get started this Wednesday. Come over to my home, and I go over for 2 hours every week. And we'd sit and we'd talk. And then finally the fourth step came, where I finally sat down and shared all that hurt and pain, cried with this man, shared with this man the deepest, darkest secrets that I said I would never tell anybody because I was too embarrassed and too ashamed. But that's what I finally had to do in order to live, in order to get any type of traction in this room, in the program, and to be able to be sober today. But I've had enough. You know, I got so sick of being that loser I was. I was a loser. You know, I was a dressed up garbage can. You ever heard that term before? Wear a nice suit, going somewhere, and I'd be ready to kill myself. Suicidal. Because I didn't know how to live. But what I have to do today is I go to a lot of meetings. They keep coming back. I hear that all. Keep coming back. And when I came to this program, wasn't nobody telling me to keep coming back. They just wanted me to stay away. They would close the blinds if they saw me coming. I have robbed. I have stole. I have done it all. And I don't do that today. I don't live like that anymore. And it's all because of this program of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. It's all because of people like Marshall, John, Steve, all these guys. I got a better crowd to hang around today. I don't hang around those people I used to hang around with. Well, most of them are dead anyway. And most of them I didn't like anyway. We kind of just use each other. You know, we kind of use you. Viktor Frankl, who was an Austrian Holocaust survivor, he was a writer. He wrote a book. He wanted to find out what the meaning of life was. And he said that a person who has no deep sense of meaning or purpose in their life will distract himself with pleasure. And I just kind of bumbled and stumbled and fumbled through life. Today, I have a purpose and I have a meaning. I have a life today that's worth living. I get excited about coming. I live about 10 minutes here from the jail. New Kent's about 45, 50. My wife says, you get really excited about going down to the jail because I look forward to seeing you people. I look forward to sharing a few words that maybe will help somebody. I know it helps me. And maybe something I say will impact somebody in some way, shape, or form. That's why I keep coming. You know, I'm sober today. I'm not that loser I used to be. But I know also that if I pick up that first drink or that first drug, my life is over. I would be lucky to come back to jail or come back to the penitentiary. I would welcome death if I ever drink again. So I'm so thankful to be here. And I'm so thankful that you people are here to help me. And hopefully I'm able to help you in some way as well. And I'm going to turn to our speaker tonight. Is Emily? Just give a hand for Emily coming up. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey everybody. So I'm here to tell you guys my story. I love to tell my story. I think I wouldn't say it's unique, like we all have our story, but when I sat down and thought about it, like I'm pretty lucky to be where I'm at right now, even though I did all the work. So I'm an addict. I'm Emily. Let's see. So I had a pretty basic life growing up. I mean, the same thing anybody else would have. Got two brothers. We're real close in age. We're all really tight. Daughters, one's 15, one's 16 and a half. But I had been shy as a child, just really, really shy. And I realized drugs, it started with marijuana, giggly, got me out of my character, you know, everybody loved it. So then I loved it too, but then drugs started leading to other things. Then I found myself just being a full-blown addict. Started with pain pills, got in trouble with the law. I was in the newspaper. My doctor's like, so how you getting these pain pills? Why do you even need them? Made up some story. And he was like, well, this is the last script you're going to get. Of course, that took me out to the streets, started shooting dope. Like, I don't have a specific DOC. It's a smorgasbord. Like, if you got it, I'm doing it. I'm not real picky. So I've done my time in jail, in and out a few times, Henrico East. I've never actually been in West, ever. This is my first time being here. So I did the RISE program, graduated, but I wasn't done at all whatsoever. I thought once I got out, like I could use that cover up if I went to the RISE program. I got clean and I'm on this new leaf with life. But that didn't work at all whatsoever. I slowly just started declining. It got to the point where it didn't matter what drug I was on. Like my parents, they could be like, she's doing Xanax. She's doing this, she's doing that. Like it didn't matter what I did. I wasn't covering up, just literally on the telephone. They didn't have to see me face to face. So then I just started regressing and isolating. And it got to the point where, yeah, I talked to my parents, but I didn't really go see them much. And they were pretty much over my antics anyway. Didn't have a good relationship with my brothers after that. It was literally non-existent. So, I've never done rehab. I've never done anything like that. I had never worked recovery. My first stint in recovery was actually coming to the McShin Foundation about 22 months ago. So what got me to the McShin Foundation. Like I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. No, there's no in between with that. I knew I couldn't do it all by myself, because if I could, I would have already. I knew I needed sober living to hold me accountable. I'd say I'm not going to do it anymore. Then my paycheck would come. Then I go get high. Then I'd be broke by Sunday night. Maybe have just enough in the gas tank to get me to work Monday morning. Do it all over again. Like it was just a vicious cycle. So I'm trying to think exactly like when things got out of control. Things were always out of control, and I was never a functioning addict. I like to say I was functioning, but I wasn't. I'm sure everybody on the outside, like I didn't have anybody fooled. I had nobody fooled. I thought I did. But it got to the point where I had isolated so much that I was just my own company, and I learned to just be okay with myself. I didn't go get high with anybody else. I didn't have to share. Nobody could tell on me. Yeah, that was the big thing. I was like, and now they say that's dangerous to do that, but I was like, man, I was living the dream, getting high by myself. Nobody else was wanting any of my stuff. I ended up in between then, I lost a good job due to drugs and my anger. And I ended up meeting a guy. Yeah, meeting that guy. And everybody had told me he was no good, Emily. And I'm like, really? I don't see that, and the red flags were just a waving. Like I was having to literally crawl through the red flags, but I didn't care. He loved me. So that lasted for about 2 years. And it was terrible. A lot of domestic violence. And I'm going to pin some dates just because I believe that, my higher power was definitely looking out for me. And if anything, he was throwing signs down like, Emily, it's time to make a change. But we were together for almost 2 years. I remember it was August the 23rd. Like we got into a knockdown drag out. He went to jail. I ended up going and like testifying for him so he could get out. I was probably high. So then February the 3rd was our like anniversary knockdown drag out. August the 23rd of the very following year was the last knockdown drag out. So it was like literally exactly a year apart. And I knew I was on probation. And I knew I was probably absconding, but nobody was really looking for me. I was bouncing from county to county to county to county. And they were like, all right, so you've moved counties. Okay, so you're not going to come to us. You're going to come to Chesterfield. Okay, so you've moved from Chesterfield to Hopewell. Okay, so now we're going to do that. And I was just biding my time, and it was working, so I kept doing it. I ended up, like I said, that August the 23rd, it was 2022, August 23rd, 2022. It was bad. And my ex was actually running from where he didn't do everything he needed to do for the domestic violence charge. I was running because I was on assault and battery and wasn't going to probation. So he ended up just calling the police thinking that like they were going to arrest me and him and we'd both just be going to jail. Well, I didn't get arrested. I was not at all yet on their radar. So I considered myself I knew it was time to make a change then. Like my runs were up, man. There was no more, I wasn't going to be getting away with any more of this. So I had called my uncle and told him where I was at, what I was doing. I was living in a little trailer in the woods of Charles City, no power, no running water. I had no water left. I was like, so here I am. I had nothing. I had nothing left. We had bought 2 cars, had sold them. There wasn't nothing tied down. We didn't sell it. Just your typical, ain't got nothing left at rock bottom. So I had a doctor's appointment that I was going to go to. And I wasn't going to go just because I didn't feel like I had a way to go. And my uncle was like, no, you go. You just go. After what had happened, he was like, you go. So I went and I ended up getting like some resources here and there. But here I was, once again, trying to stay clean on my own. and I'm calling the plug, you know, behind people's back. And I'm like, yo, I need to go. So I've left this in this person's car. Can you take me? Really, I was trying to meet somebody to get drugs. And that happened twice. And then after that, they started catching on. So I was like, man, I'm really just sitting here with nothing. I've got to figure a game plan out. So I ended up calling a domestic violence shelter. And that's where I ended up going because it was that bad. And I had been there before. It was my second go round. And they had told me this time, like, you only got 7 days. You've got 7 days to make something happen because we're shutting down this whole shelter here in this hotel. And I was like, oh my gosh. So of course, the roommate they put me with was getting high when I walked in the door. Got high with her. I had nothing. I cannot repeat that or express that enough. I had nothing. I had nothing at all. So it was time to start finding a place to go. And my roommate in there had called a counselor who I didn't know at the time. The counselor had found a bed at McShin. And she was basically going back and forth, like, should she take this bed? She realizes it's going to be like a sober living program. She doesn't think she needs it. And at this point, I was like, I don't care what program it is. Like, I'm homeless. I have nothing. Like, I'm doing it. So when the counselor called her back, she turned the bed down. And I was like, you turned that bed down? And she was like, I just don't think the program's for me. And I snatched her phone out of her hand and hit redial and called the counselor back. And I just said, I'll take that bed. And he was like, you changed your mind? And I said, no, this isn't her. This is her roommate. My name's Emily. And he was like, well, I'm on the way. And I was like, well, wait a minute. You know, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I got a job interview. And he was like, a job interview? He was like, oh, you're going to be working. And at this moment, I had no idea what he meant. You know, he was like, just don't worry about a job. What he meant is I'm going to be working my recovery. So he came, I packed everything up. And he's like, we got to get there by 4 because this bed might not be here. It was the last female bed left at McShin, the last one left. And keep in mind, I'd never been to an RCO. I'd never been to sober living. I had no idea how any of this worked. So we pack all my stuff up. We bring me there. I start unpacking my stuff, carrying it down to the intake office. And they tell me, look, the bed's not available quite yet. And I'm like, what? You're telling me it's not quite available yet? So we take all my stuff, we put it back into my counselor's car, and he takes me back to the domestic violence shelter. And he's like, look, are you going to be here tomorrow morning? And I was like, why wouldn't I be? And he's like, most people don't come back. And I'm like, I just can't stress enough how I was over it all. Like, what else? What did I have to lose? What did I have to lose? I'd already lost everything. I had nothing else, nothing. I don't even think I had my pride anymore at that moment. None of it. So yeah, anything was better than what was going on. My counselor showed up the next morning. I put all my stuff back in the car and we took me there and the bed was available. It took a while for me to get in and I had never been at a RCO and I was kind of freaking out thinking maybe the bed wasn't going to be, but all of a sudden they brought me over there. I decided that I was going to do IOP and that's who the counselor was. He was for an intensive outpatient therapy program and I needed it. I didn't realize that I was always wanting to change the way I felt, which was why I was getting high. I learned a lot about myself in intensive outpatient. So I just want to touch on recovery. I remember when I got my first 30 days, I was so excited. You guys, this was the best day in the whole wide world. I ended up going to work. Work was a shit show, a literal shit show. It was the first day I started there. I quit. I left. My counselor picks me up as I'm walking down the road because I had missed my Uber. And he's like, what are you doing wearing that 7-Eleven t-shirt? I said, I went and got me a job. And he was like, did you really touch base with me about your plan? Did you say you were going to work? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, you should kind of, do you think you're ready to work? And I was like, as I thought about it, no, I wasn't ready to go at all whatsoever. Then I remember my 60 days came. And when my 60 days came, that was a crazy day. I don't even remember exactly what happened, but it wasn't a good day. When my 90 days came, I went to go and they didn't have a key tag. And I was like, what? So then I got to my 6 months. Then I made it to a year. Then I made it to 18 months. I am a week shy of 22 months clean right now. It is the best feeling I've ever felt in my life. I've never had clean time. I've never had a day. I've never done that. I do know that if I didn't have the accountability for sober living like I do there, I'd have never been able to do this. The previous, that people that got up here talking about surrendering, I literally, right before I went to that doctor's appointment, I hit my knees, I bawled and I cried and I was like, I can't do this on my own. I just can't. And I literally surrendered. I surrendered. And there's been times where, and I've spoke about this before, where I would say, God, if you just let me pass this drug test, I promise I will never get high again. I won't ever do it again. And then I would pass the drug test and I'd be like, good look out, And one of those days I didn't pass that drug test. And I was like, oh, so yeah, that's pretty much when I started running. I was like, I'm just not going back to probation. But that feeling of going, hey, God, I promise I won't ever do it again. And then the feeling of actually surrendering, it's two different things. So, I'm currently at McShin now. Okay, so recovery things are, I thought if I got clean, everything be perfect, everything be fine again, everything be great. That's not the case. I had a lot of work to do on myself. I had a lot of relationships to make amends to. Some of those relationships are still non-existent, but that's okay. I've made my peace with a lot of things and I got to keep it going. I still have things I have to work on, but looking back, I just can't be thankful for the chance that McShin gave me. And just like, I've trusted the process. I had to trust the process. And that was hard. I had no trust left in anybody. If I couldn't do it, and if I couldn't rely on myself to do it, it didn't get done. So I ended up getting a job at a cellular wireless provider. And I have been there now for a year and a half. I'm now the store manager. I am the house leader at the Step Up House at McShin. I talked to my daughter. She's watching right now. She's so proud of me. My mom and my dad are watching. My mom will send me $20 on Cash App. And I don't even have to come up with a bullshit lie for it. She will just be like, here, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, man, okay, yeah. It's the craziest thing. People will give you money when you're not getting high. They will give you money when you're not getting high. And you don't even have to ask for it. I know, isn't it crazy? And I also had to learn, a big part of me that I learned was I am super impulsive. Super impulsive. I mean, let's go do it. I don't do that anymore. I say, let's go do it to go to a meeting. I say, let's go do it to eat with people, in my circle or in my group. But no, I don't just jump up and go do too much sporadic, because I'm still learning to not be impulsive. That leads back to where I still got a lot of work to do. There's a saying, what do they say? I'm not where, what is it they say? I'm not where I used to be. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be either. Something of that nature. I'm definitely proud of myself. It took a long time to say I'm proud. I remember feeling cocky by saying I'm proud. I am humble. Right before we started this, I got teary-eyed just because never in 1,000 years did I think I'd be standing here speaking to you people and wanting to. Y'all, I wanted to come here and speak to y'all. Wasn't begged. I wasn't asked. I was just like, hey, I'd like to go do that one day, and come to find out they needed a speaker. So here I am. Life is good. There's still things that I have to work on. I feel like I can't say that enough. I do have plans and I have goals. I'm in school full time, and I am in school for criminal justice and human services. Yeah, I genuinely want to kind of give back. I feel like that. So when I was a parent and I became incarcerated, there was nobody there like in the system to say, they just said, hey, Emily, stay clean or you're going to lose your kids. Stay clean or you're going to lose your kids. Okay, well, can somebody guide me with that? No resources were given to me. Nobody led me in the right direction. So I really want to do something like that. Help parents become stable, productive, healthy parts of society, and provide a healthy place for their children to come back to, and hopefully, stay out the system. I really don't know what else to add. If anybody has any questions, they can ask. But I'm pretty sure all of our stories are similar. They're also, yeah, what's up? That I learned about myself in recovery. I mean, I'm worth something. I didn't think that I literally thought I was only put on this earth to just give birth to children and they were going to do great things, and like my job was done. I had no self-worth. I have self-worth now. I genuinely can look in the mirror and feel good about myself. When I first got to McShin, you don't have a network. They make sure that your house is about a mile or so away from the church, so you can get where you got to go. There's no excuses. And I remember just being so intimidated to walk down the road. I would walk to get my drugs, but I wouldn't walk to the church to do groups or UAs or anything like that. Like, it freaked me out. I was completely freaked out. I don't even know why. But coming and speaking in front of you guys, like, I'm not nervous at all. There was a time that I would never do this. But yeah, I have self-worth. Yeah. I'm just as important as the next person. Mm-hmm. That's funny too. So I guess I was like, let me see, August, September, October, November. So it was like right around January the 15th of 2023. I guess I had like 4.5 months clean. McShin had said, yeah, we make sure your PO knows everything. And I'm like, but they haven't talked to me. I just know they want to talk to me. And I just know they have something to say. And my phone rang, like the third phone number I had since probation. And it's my probation officer. And he's like, hey, Emily. I'm like, hi. And he was like, so I understand you're at McShin now. And I was like, yes, sir. And he was like, that's Henrico County, right? I was like, that is Henrico County. That is not Chesterfield. That is not Hopewell. That is not Charles City. That's not New Kent or Petersburg. That is definitely Henrico County. And he was like, okay, so I'm gonna need you to come and meet me. I was like, all right. So I did. Yeah. Yeah. So I came in, but I didn't have that nervous feeling like I normally would. And actually he was like, all right, so I'm going to put you in with Henrico County. You're now going to be with Henrico County. And I was telling myself, well, I'm going to show up this time because I have nothing to fear. And he said, call. This was a Thursday when he called me. He said, call Monday and they will set up a time for you to come in. And that's where you will now start, being seen at. So I called and the lady was like, we just don't have any record of you. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure they want to speak to me. This whole time I'm like, I know they want to see me. Like, yeah, are you pretty sure? And she was like, why don't you call the other one, parole? And I'm like, I'm not on parole. I was like, man, it could be a mistake. So I called and she's like, well, we don't have any record of you either. And I'm like, this is weird. So I call my PO. He doesn't answer. I email him and he calls me back 2 days later. He's like, yeah. So McShin has such a tight eye on you that I literally couldn't do better than they can. He was like, you're doing great there. You're doing everything you should be doing. He was like, do your anger management classes and I'm gonna let you off probation. So that's what's getting ready to happen too. I'm about finished with that. And I will finally be off of probation for a misdemeanor assault and battery. Yeah, that's all it was. And everybody's like, since 2020. And I'm like, yeah. I was a little MIA for a while there. But yeah, like that, I don't fear coming to the probation office anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've all, if we're here, we might have all probably been there with that feeling. Yeah, holding my urine because I'm trying to like flush out drugs. I think that's probably the worst feeling in the world. That's one of them. One of the, yeah, yeah. We like to call them whiz quizzes. But life is good. I would like to tell you it's great, but I know there's so many more things to happen. I know that there are going to be things that happen in my recovery that I haven't experienced yet, that I'm going to have to learn how to experience them sober. I'm not going to be able to run to anything. I have not really experienced a death yet in recovery. That's one thing I do kind of worry about. I mean, I'm open, I'm honest. I'm an addict, y'all. I'm just like all of y'all. There's nothing different with me. And I will tell you that one thing I do live by is like, I don't use no matter what. No matter what at all, I just don't use. That feeling will subside, that impulsiveness, like practice makes perfect, but I do not use for anything, nothing. And then I'm like, whew. I mean, I'm human. Sometimes, I think back to things and they freak me out. And I'm just real grateful that I'm not where I am before. So I don't know.
Thank you, Amy.
Oh, thank you.
Hey,
right.
hey, and just to give y'all a hint, man, of what we have been doing recently, man, is to get somebody that's kind of early in recovery, get somebody that's got a lot of clean time, and also get somebody in between. So we can talk about the process. I like the way Emily framed her story, and my takeaway from that is, and I found this out about myself and other addicts, we are control freaks, even when we using, even when we got oil leaking, somebody asks you, said, are you okay? And you be like, yeah, I'm all right. But you got oil leaking from behind you. You know what I'm saying? You got blood, you got everything leaking. But I'm all right. Because we want to be in control. Now, they got a saying in the program, man. Let go and let God. That's a process. That's a process. That don't always happen early on in recovery. It's more fear than it is faith. But as we continue to stay here, work with our sponsor, work the steps of the program, we start to see and feel things changing. We start to see our feelings towards things change.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. And we understand, like I said earlier, transitioning from one thing to another, sometimes it's fearful. That's where the anxiety comes in at. That's where the help comes in at. And that's when we have to make an effort to reach out to somebody, rather than to try to tackle this or handle this on our own by ourselves, And man, we are around a group of people that understand how I think, understand how y'all think. Don't nobody shame you, embarrass you because you, hey Marsh, hey man, can I talk to you for a minute after the meeting? You know what I'm saying? Can I ask you a question? I don't care who it is, man or woman. Can I ask you a question? And we know, man, we are around a group of people that we got like minds, we got like thoughts, And so that's how this thing, man, the therapeutic value of one addict to another is without parallel. You know what I'm saying? You can get it from another addict as opposed to getting it from a family member, you know, who you think might know you real well, you know. So we done been through similar experiences, you know what I'm saying? And man, that's the gift here, you know, that we get this stuff, man, and we're able to share it with one another, you know. And man, this is awesome, you know. And absolutely, man, absolutely, you know. And so that's what we've been trying to do. We've been trying to bring some women and men to meet the balance that we got in here, you know. And we talked about this, man, weeks ago. How good it was, man, when we had a couple of people to come in that were early in recovery, 6 months, a year, or whatever, you know, so that y'all could relate to them. You know what I mean? And we just started the building from right there, you know. Again, you know, my foundation was laid when I started to get honest with myself. I heard that in Emily. That's my takeaway from her. Laid her foundation when she started to get honest with herself, you know. And so when you hear, man, and you ain't got nothing to do, take that on as a project. You know what I'm saying? Take that on as a project, because a lot of times we manufacture it here before it actually comes out of behavior wise. You know, we think about it. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I like what she said, man, just giving McShin a plug. You know, I'm at McShin. This is where I want to be at, and I'm not going to let using F that up, you know, for wherever you go. You know what I mean? So, man, it's always our pleasure to come, you know, every week. Like Greg said, I look forward to it. You know what I'm saying? I get excited with it. You know what I mean? I got a list of stuff in my telephone, man. My notes page. I got a list of stuff, you know, and then I got some stuff in the closet. And all this is like preparation on a daily basis, you know, for this right here, you know. And you know why I'm so adamant about the jail thing, man, is because, man, that's where I started at, you know. That's where I started. I done had opportunities to go different places and do different things. And I was like, no. Because I remember my life 30-something years ago, sitting in a facility like this, sitting in the Richmond City jail, you know, not wondering what's going to happen, you know, no hope, you know what I'm saying? Think I'm going to be using for the rest of my life, think I'm going to be dead by the time I'm 40 years old, you know. And for some of y'all that don't know, Greg just asked me earlier today, he said, Marshall, how old are you? I said, I'm 72. 72 years old. I have lived a full life, you know. And the reason I say that, because I can remember being in my 30s, still thinking I'm going to be dead by the time I'm 40 years old. Go to show you how much I know. I ain't had no control over that, and thank God I didn't. You know what I'm saying? You know? And so you can live a full life, man. You can live a full life, you know. Put that stuff, man, put that stuff that you don't have control out of, you learn to put that stuff over here somewhere. You know what I mean? And just do what you can control, you know? Man, enjoy your days. That's what I'm still trying to do, man. I'm still making the effort, man, to enjoy my days, man. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how long I'm going to have to see my grandkids. But I tell you what, man, I ain't going to piss away today. You know what I'm saying? On some BS, you know? I'm going to enjoy myself, man. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for being here. Y'all come back week after next. All right? Thank you. Thank you. I'm on my way to Florida. Again. Yeah, again. I live down there. I live down there. Absolutely. I live down there. Thank you, Emily. Hey, let's give Emily another hand. Let's give Emily another hand. Can y'all hear me? They couldn't hear me. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Emily. Hey, y'all got any Tootsie Rolls?